Let me let's start this up. Here we are. What's up, guys? So I haven't live streamed by myself. I said to JJ before, I have not live streamed by myself in so long. This is going to be so weird for me, but I think I can manage it. You know, JJ's like, "You're a good talker," but I wanted to create this spin-off channel as a way to like not care about the YouTube algorithm. And for those of you that are here, the reason that you might want to stay here, I'm going to show all my portfolios, what kind of happened last week, what are some stocks and things that I'm looking at for next week. I'll show you my poor man's covered call spreadsheet. I'll show you my wheels spreadsheet. You guys can ask me questions about options or just anything else. I hope to do this maybe for like an hour or so, but I could show you, like I have it all logged up where I can just bring up my my desktop, and like I said, we can go through the stock analyzer that I use, which is Rover. I really love it. Like I said, look at my portfolio here with all of my different leaps options and my different holdings, and like I said, that poor man's covered call and wheels, and like I said, so get definitely in the questions, get in the comments, and if you have any questions, just please like let me know, and I will try and get to them like as they come up. But I want this to be educational. Those of you that have seen me on the Average Money podcast, you know, that is just hanging out. But I said I want to take this pretty seriously and give you guys just what I'm thinking about going into this week. I will make other live stream videos about nothing, about drinking beer, about doing this, but each one, every time I go live, I'll have a specific thing I want to talk about. And like I said, I don't have to worry about the YouTube algorithm and stupid things like I don't know, certain things that I could just get rid of. Okay. So you want me to turn it down a little? Okay. I could turn it down a little bit. Let me know if that's any better. Yeah, please let me know. So let me just turn it here. We're good. All right. So somebody just subscribed. Thank you so much for subscribing, Mickey. Like I said, any questions, guys, please let me know in the comments down below, and we'll get right into this. The first thing I think I want to just bring up is the stock Rover, guys. And the reason I want to do this, and the reason I'm going to show you this first, for those of you that are in my Discord, you guys know that I've been using this for a pretty long time. It's like the analyzer that I kind of use, and they're going to be coming up in a video soon. And I've been working really, really hard to try and get an affiliate relationship with these guys, and I finally did. So there's going to be a video, and now I can really start to promote it for all of its glory. I posted a couple pictures inside the Discord that come from this, so I'll kind of want to go through those first. Also, too, guys, if you want to try this thing for free, it is paid. It's a pretty paid service. But if you want, you can try this for like 7 days. There's a link down in the description for not only that and for Patreon as well. They give you this kind of information at the top. Admittedly so, when I first got into stock Rover, I thought that it was a little overkill, kind of like when you first log into Webull. It's like just seems so like interesting and difficult. But as I've been using it more and more, I learned the things. So I like to set this to pretty much like a 5-day window. You can set up your own portfolio in here. I haven't done that. But if I go and set all of these metrics here, the market movers, it's kind of like nice to see, you know, who's gaining and who's losing. To be honest, I more look at the losers of the week. And the reason that I'm going to do that is I want to make sure, like, I love selling puts, right? So the reason that I'm more concerned with who's losing is I kind of know the market is super overvalued right now. So I'm looking for good deals. So that's the reason that I particularly like to look at the losers. I don't care so much about the gainers because there's a pretty good chance that over time, those gainers, they are going to go back, you know, and be one of the losers eventually. So Under Armour and there, not many companies that I particularly mess with. If we look at the losers here, there was one of the losers that, you know, people have been talking about a lot in the news, and I'll talk about that and another stock that I'm looking for as far as value is concerned. There's been so much talk about Clorox. And I remember last year, Clorox, with everything going on and everyone being sick and everything like that, Clorox went on this like insane run, right? It was just incredible, and everyone was all about like, Brad, are you getting onto the Clorox? Are you doing this, that, and the other thing? And if you looked at their chart, it was completely out of the ordinary. And we knew the reasons why it was completely out of the ordinary. So I wasn't really hyped on it. Kind of like I I live in like a summer town, and if someone goes at the end of the summer and they say, hey, you want to buy my business, and you just look at the last 2 months and you try and buy the business off of those numbers, you're probably going to get screwed. Like, it's going to be a long winter. So the same thing with kind of Clorox. People were looking so short term at what they've done, and then I looked back and back. But now they're actually at a pretty good, they're getting to the point where they're at a really good value. And that's why you've been hearing a lot about them on YouTube, because it's not, it looks like they dove so much, but they really just came back to reality. And after that, you can consider them a really good value stock. I personally wouldn't consider them like a great growth stock or a value stock that I'm particularly going to be buying. If I talk about one that I am going to be particularly looking at this week, it's Intel. And, you know, I will give full credit. I love the guys at Everything Money too, and they actually just reviewed Intel, and they agree as well that it's good stuff as far as a value buy. And I can't really, I'm not going to show the average money portfolio, because that's JJ and I's, and like out of privacy of him, I'm not going to show that portfolio. But if you follow along, you guys know that I have 100 shares of Apple. What I'm looking at this week, especially if we have a nice green day for Apple, I don't know if we're going to, obviously, but if we do, I'm going to be looking to dump the Apple inside that challenge portfolio with JJ, and I'll probably be writing some put options on Clorox, and let's go Mets. But yeah, so that's, I mean, not on Clorox, on Intel. So if you're curious about like what new stock that I haven't really been talking about, it's going to be Intel. I've been waiting kind of for the capital to write a cash secure put on them. And yeah, I'm going to be looking at them for a cash secure put. I don't really see them as a huge growth stock, but I think they're very, very at a really good value, David. So the reason I bring that up is because with puts, right, we know we're going to get assigned eventually. We know this between covered calls, and with anything that we're holding options, we're going to get assigned eventually. So the reason I like it with Intel is because I know it's such a good value when I get assigned, not if, but when I get assigned. I'm holding on to a good stock that I like at a good value after doing my due diligence. If I did this with a stock that I didn't want to hold on to and it tanked and I got assigned, now I'm holding on to a stock that I don't really know that much about. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. And I get myself kind of shit out of luck, if you will. So I'm looking at them as a cash secure put for the value. Now, I also might be looking I can't do it in that challenge portfolio, but also inside my Robinhood portfolio, I can show that really quick as well. Let me just, I'm using double screens, guys, for the first time in my life. So give it up for me. Not this one, this one. I might be adding Intel as a poor man's covered call inside this portfolio here. So right now, for those of you that are kind of new to my Robinhood portfolio or not in my Discord, where I pretty much talk about this on a regular basis, I have 2 calls, Vuzi expiring in 23. I got a Starbucks. I got Tattoo Chef at $12.50. I got Waste Management. I just added that last week. And then I have calls against all of them with the exception of Vuzi. So I have a Vuzi put. That will be a wheel. And I'll show you that on my spreadsheet in 1 second. But I do not have Vuzi. I have not written calls against Vuzi. They are a monthly. So the next expiration is 8/20. I have myself a little bit of time. So I'm going to be waiting on that. And I'm going to wait for a green day, right? We want to sell calls on a green day when we're going to get the most amount of premium. Josh has a question. I'll get to the chat. If you think a stock will go up, wouldn't you be better off buying calls instead of selling puts? Takes less capital. That's what I'm finding. Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's, I'm sure I was talking. I don't know when you posted that, but you posted a second. Yeah, the reason I wouldn't do it in that portfolio with JJ is I'm not allowed to do poor man's covered calls. I'm not allowed to do spreads. We don't have that level 3 option yet. So that's why it'd be a cash secure put in that. And I'm not even saying that I think it's going to necessarily jet up. If you go back and look at Intel's history, they're a slow roller. They've always been kind of a value stock. It's more that I see the value and I wouldn't mind holding it even for small growth, because as we know, if I got assigned in that CSP, I'm going to write a call against it. It's not going to be a big deal. Or I could just sell out of it if I really want to and take a loss on that particular move. Oh, how rude. I'm sorry. I forgot I put my main camera on here. Another question in the chat as well. I'll get to that. It says Intel PE is nice in today's market. Yeah, I mean, it's probably by my standards and criteria, it's probably sitting around like It's 12 to 18, if maybe 11, but definitely under 20. It wouldn't even be on my radar really as a value play if it was less than 20. And yeah, what's the PE ratio of the S&P 500 right now? It's got to be pushing close. I mean, we could even look that up. This is so great that I have a desktop. I didn't even realize this. So what is the value of the S&P 500 PE ratio of S&P? 34.61. So that's pretty aggressive. So yeah, so everything's really overvalued, but yeah, their PE, one of the metrics that I definitely look at. Yeah, so I mean, I guess that all stemmed from the gainers and the losers, and this is there's what does it say? No 52-week highs in the last day. Well, that's because the market's been closed, but I think we're going to see more 52-week highs. Let me see. Do I have to reset this or something? There we go. 5 day? 1 month? My computer's also working really, really slow here. That's weird. S&P 500. Yep. I don't know why I can't open those. Not looking good, stock Rover. But also, guys, I use this chart for a lot of other things. I also put this up. They have, and this is the link that I have, by the way. What I use them the most for, and I'll be honest, what I use them the most for is their research reports. So if we take a company that I trade a lot and that you see a lot of, if I were to look at this, I can click right here on the research report, and I'm not going to make it a PDF, but what it does is take all the important information from their website, and it gives you this printout of everything that you might want to know about the company. Now, I don't do this with every single company, but the ones that are on my watch list and the ones that I'm looking at, I'll print this 8-9 pages out, especially when I'm at work. And I will, start to make a little bit of a binder. Sometimes I'll even compare them. Stock Rover, they give this to you as of Friday's close. So if you do it like during the week, it's going to give you those numbers. It inputs them like right in real time. So that's awesome. Did somebody say what is PE? P ratio, earnings. Yeah, you can do PE a number of different ways, or two main ways. I think one of them take their price per earnings, and the other you can look at the market cap divided by the total earnings. So there's two different ways you can do it. And usually the numbers come out about the same. It doesn't really matter that much. I'm trying to finish the seltzer so I can crack a beer. I needed one more seltzer. I might just skip it and open the beer. We'll see what happens. All right, so that's pretty. I mean, I can get off the whole stock Rover scene now. But like I said, if you want to check that, I think it's even worth for the research reports. They'll be coming up in a video soon. They did sponsor that video. They did not sponsor this because this is a new channel. If you have not subscribed already, that's why you can't comment. Oh, thank you, David. I appreciate that. So let's go back to the desktop. Look at some other things that you might be interested in. I know we definitely want to see the covered calls and things like that. So let's get rid of stock Rover. I'll keep it up just in case somebody has a question later, depending on how far we go. I will talk about the Robinhood portfolio. Full disclosure, guys, in the last year, this is the first time it's been under 100% in a really, really long time. And that's okay. I mean, I'm not going to complain about 97, but there was times where, even recently it was doing really, really good. Now, this is hard because a lot of the growth is tied up in my long calls, my buys. So, but I mean, just as much as it can go up, it can go down. Over the last 3 months, up 17%. In the last month, up 3%. The last week, I was down a little bit. I strictly use this portfolio just for trading options, and I lost a bet, so I have a little bit of Dogecoin, which I think I got at like $50. No, 40 cents. So I do have a little bit of that too. That's whatever. That's not a big deal for me. If it goes to the moon, I'll have $50 in it or so. So the Vuzi call is 2023, 2022. I'm not going to go through each one in detail unless one of you has a specific question about one of these buys. Oh, I also have this Pepsi too. I forgot I have a Pepsi. I got to wait for a Pepsi Green Day as well. And then I will, here's what I love about Robinhood as opposed to Fidelity that I've been using for options. you can just look right here and see the current share price on Fidelity. They don't give you the current share price in their option in like your portfolio when you look at it, unless there's a setting I'm missing, and it really, really just annoys the crap out of me. No Limit Gaming, yeah, thank you. Like 97 isn't that bad. I wonder what all time is. All time up 300. When did I start this portfolio? August of 2017, and I didn't put anything in because this must be September of 2019. 2018, wow, this is when I sold off my portfolio. So there wasn't a lot of stocks in there, and a couple things crashed. But yeah, not too bad. 17, wow, I got into this a little while ago. But I have Pepsi just because I think I got that not at a great value. It was more of a stock that I just wanted some more percentage of my portfolio in. And having that Pepsi, I don't know, it was either that or I was going to buy shares of it. And they just continue to do smart things. I don't know if you saw, but Pepsi just sold Tropicana, and you'd be like, why is Tropicana a profitable company? Why would they sell something like that? And I saw like the research, and its profit margin was like so low, even though it was profitable, its profit margin was so low that it was throwing off all Pepsi's numbers. So they sold them off. And I'm like, and I think they got rid of the naked drinks too. I'm like, that is a business that could just take a small loss, but no, they continue on to do things. I just love Pepsi. Waste Management is more, it wasn't so affected by COVID, so the price was kind of, let me click into that, and let's just look at what, I can look at Waste Management real quick. Bryce the Fishman, I'll get to you in 1 second. John, thank you very much for subscribing. I hope you leave a nice comment. So I'll look at just Waste Management here. Did I add this to the things I'm watching? I could just type it up here. It's like I said, the newest one. I just added. It has to show up in a video last year. So like if you see, there wasn't that huge dip, right? They've had. What that showed me is that they can survive through like this pandemic. People are still going to be the people are always going to be throwing stuff out. They're always going to be doing good things. So as we're still unsure with the volatility, I just bought this as like a steady grower. I mean, they grew 34%. I said everything is kind of up, but if we look at the trend, I'm not one of those stock analyzer people, so I'm not going to whip out one of those fancy lines, but we see a general upward trend, and I knew that I could get a general upward trend, and I knew that if I traded options with them as well, they trade monthlies, and the premiums are not terrible. As we can see, this is at 78. We could talk about like why they're at the money and things like that if you have specific questions about that, but that's pretty much, those are the calls that I have. Tattoo Chef, I've talked at length about. Vuzi as well. Starbucks, same. I don't think they're going to slow down, and I think they're going to bounce back. I just, when there's the same store on either side of the road in some places, and that's how it is here in New York City, if you have a business that's literally across the street from one another, I don't care like how overvalued you are, like I'm going to get down with that. All right, so hold on. Let me get to the chat real quick before I keep going. So I opened up a poor man covered call. Tattooed Chef with Leaps, $12.50, short call of $22.50. So I hope you paid less than $1,000 premium for that Leaps. Am I missing something? If it hits $22.50, math shows that I will profit automatically. Very first covered call for it seems to make it easy. So like I said, it all depends on what that amount of premium you paid for the Leaps, right? In retrospect, yeah, you would profit, okay? You would definitely profit from that transaction. But your profit is going to be, the difference in that strike times 100 minus the amount of premium you paid plus the amount of premium you collected from the short call. I'm not going to call it an easy way to make money, but it has to be calculated. And like I said, automatically means nothing. If you get to assignment of that poor man's covered call, yes, then you profited if your two strike prices are greater. But holding the Leaps and doing the poor man's covered call is far from automatic. It is not an automatic transaction, because if it falls below that 12, that's going to be a big deal. So yeah, when I'm doing the poor man's covered call, I'm making sure that my short call is, if I take the difference in those strikes times 100 minus the premium that I've paid. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even add back the premium that I've collected when I'm finding out that break even, because if you're going to write short calls over a long time, you are going to have to roll at a loss. You are going to have to take a loss on that short call to protect the long call. So even though I'm net on my covered calls, there's been times where I've been net like $200, and then I had to buy to close at a loss for 175. Boom, I'm back to 25. And if I would have factored in that money that I'd collected from the short call, if I would have factored that in, then took the buy to close loss, and then it got assigned, I'd be fucked. So I don't really do that either. I just eliminate all the profit. I count up all my money at the end of the game, not at the beginning, and not at the middle. So that money I got from the calls, that's still offsetting. I'm still negative to the leaps, and until I go positive on the leaps, I'm not really going to throw that in. Do you see Vuzi turning back around to trend upward? Joe, yeah, I mean, I've talked about Vuzi. I think they're a great company. Their problem is they're not profitable, and there's only so long that you could be not profitable and have investors still believe in you. And I think, and I've mentioned this in the Discord, when Vuzi was up in that high 20s at 30 for a very short time, that was kind of like everyone bouncing back after COVID or even up into COVID, because they were one of the companies that was going to thrive in a COVID market, right? They were making these glasses that were going on doctor's face so you could do surgeries virtually and you could do checkups virtually. And in this virtual world where we needed eyes from one person in a different location, they were somebody that was going to thrive. And I believe that stock price went up and it became slightly overvalued, especially because they're not profitable, and they really haven't been profitable. That's why I didn't really love that the price was going up, and frankly, why I didn't continue to buy into that high 20s area for Vuzi. I kind of, like I said, I have them at $5, and at that time, I thought $5 was a great value, and I believe that option, that got up over like $2,500 each. That was profitable, like plus 5,000, and we didn't sell. I mean, in retrospect, I could have made a ton of money, but yeah, I still think it's going to go up. And I think even where it's at right now, the price that it's at right now, if I look exactly, the price that it's at right now, I'm okay with that. I think that's fair. 13.54. If you would have told me pre-COVID, what do you think they're going to be in a year and a half, 2 years, I probably would have said in the $15 range. So if you look at 2 months ago and they were 20, and now you look at them now, they look like a bag of D's, but I don't know. I think they're dope. I got to open a beer. Matt says Starbucks lease or own their own fronts. I mean, knowing how expensive real estate is in Manhattan, how many of them are there, I don't think they're like a McDonald's where they own everything. Do some people own them? Probably, yeah. But I think as a majority, I think the franchisees are buying or leasing buildings from landlords. Like I said, if that were true and they were like McDonald's, and I'm telling you, there's more Starbucks in Manhattan than McDonald's by a ton. I don't know what the number is, and I might even be wrong, but at least it feels like that to me. They would have like trillions of dollars in real estate right there in Manhattan. Let me see what else we have. Yeah, Vuzi also does have earnings next week. So, speaking of earnings next week, guys, that's another like metric that I look at inside Stock Rover. I said I would bring it up like if it came up, but you can also look at calendars. So let me see. My mouse is like dying here. Screeners. Now remember, I'm still learning this profile as well, but I just saw it the other day. Maybe I was doing search. So if I want to see like earnings report, earnings, here we go. So display earnings calendar. So I can come into here, I can click this, and then this is going to show me everybody that has earnings this week. And come on, look. Oh, guys, I'm on a MacBook Pro. I apologize. Oh, my God. Here we go. So I tend to look at this more on a weekly basis because it's just going to make it a little bit bigger. Sorry, that's going to make it have to load and load and load. I'm going to have a sip of my beer. So let's see. Oh, gosh. Hold on. Is the real JJ Buckner here? So we can see that, we have all the different earnings from all the different companies, and Vuzi is going to be somewhere on this. I think they sort it by market cap. So you can kind of, see what's going on there. Let me go back and put me back on here. So anyway, there's just those other things you can see. So that was from the Starbucks lease. What else, guys? Is your goal in the PMC to make back premium you paid for the long call and short calls? Dave, that's going to be really, really hard to do. I've done it with a few stocks. I've done it now with Vuzi, but I don't think you're ever going to really... It would be really, really hard, in my opinion, to break even in short calls if you're picking quality companies. Yeah, JJ, what's up, buddy? JJ, why do you have a check mark? Does that mean you got a check mark when you get to 100,000? Guys, 120,000 plus subscriber guy in the building. It does seem off. JJ and I, we have a podcast, guys, the Average Money Podcast. For those of you that might not know that, it'd be really hard. We live stream on Wednesdays, depending on if we're partying. We did skip last week. JJ's not feeling well. But he told me this morning, this is his words out of his mouth. He said he's feeling like $1 million. So that's good news that he'll be back. I think he even tried to make a video yesterday. Not sure if it got up. JJ, when's your stream? 800. Yeah, I think he's been live streaming. He'll be live streaming again, I'm sure he'll say. Bottom left pane. Oh yeah, yep, there it is. Just sounds like sounds like a win-win. Okay. Yeah, Wednesday for Average Money, that's when we're going to do it. I think I like the stock Rover. PJ, like I said, there's a link in my description. Just try it out. It's free to try. Like I said, it's a paid service, but if there's things that you're going to be looking at and things you want to know, guys, you get what you pay for. And when I've been using it, I actually, JJ was the first one to tell me about it. And then he'd talk about it in videos, and I'd be like, oh, look at him talking about stock Rover in videos. And then he'd come here, and I'd see him. I'm like, what the hell are you looking at? Or he'd whip up a stat quick. I'll be like, where did you get that information from? And he's like, oh, it's the stock Rover. So I finally got down. Like I said, I tried to get into a relationship with them. So that's been really, really nice. Capital gain. Okay. Let's see what else we got. I see you guys are talking here. What's the rate at Stock Rover? So they kind of have a Cheesecake Factory menu. You can literally customize your plan to what you want. If you don't care about research reports and you want to look at more historical charts, they have a couple different things. The link that I put up there just is for just the Stock Rover plan, but I have the premium plus plan. I kind of just went for the gusto because if I like it enough to get a little bit of it, I want all of it. Kind of like in black or in poker. Like if it's good enough to call, it's good enough to raise. So I didn't really look at the lower tiers. I just said, I like this and I'm going premium plus. And I'm sure there is stuff that I'm not even close to finding. I've been using it about a month and a half now. I'm sure there's stuff that I have no idea what's going on. But JJ, I'm using 2 monitors, but I'm on 2 monitors. Speaking of which, let's go back over to that desktop. We went through the Robinhood portfolio. Here's kind of, guys, if you've never seen it, or this is kind of how I dictate my day, and this will get me into kind of the moves and the things that I'm going to be looking at this week. So we can see this spreadsheet, which is available to everybody in Discord. It's been modified. I might have to update it. If you're in my Discord and it looks a little different than this, ask me and I'll put the most recent version of that up here. But I put everything down, the long call strikes, things like that, days to expiration. Just I want to know on that leaps. Like I said, I'm going to trigger 60 days. This actually turns red when it gets within 60 days. And it's going to tell me that it's going to start to look time to buy to close because of the theta starting to kick in. This is the amount invested, so we see that's a long call price, and then the premium. So this is all the premium I've collected on these poor man's covered calls so far. I know that I have to scroll, but I wanted it to be big enough for people to see. So here's the net premium total, which is going to be the net invested minus the premium I've collected. Here's the break even on the long call, and they'll give that to you guys. You don't have to calculate it. They give it to you. So I make sure that my strike price is above that. So we see I'm doing really good. My short call strike has to be above 149, and I have it up at 157. So right now, if I were to get assigned, I would make $770 profit. Here's the average return on all of those right now if they were closed down today. So about 50% in a year. I said I'll take that all day. Here would be my assigned profit. So that's kind of like the value part of my Robinhood portfolio. That's like not real, but it is real. And then, but it'd be a pretty good profit. It'd be a nice little payday. And then down here's all my wheels. And this is also from the Fidelity and the Robinhood. Like I said, I'm not going to discuss the Fidelity portfolio unless JJ's in the room. Even if he gives me permission, that's not fair. Days expiration. So we had some things that went away, but I'm telling you, the ones I'm going to be looking at new, I'm going to be looking at Intel this week. The Apple shares inside that FIDO portfolio, they're going to go. I'm telling JJ all my secrets now. But the Apple is going to go, and I'm going to be looking to jump into Intel as probably the play this week. As far as the Robinhood portfolio and some options plays that I'm going to be thinking of making this week, everything looks pretty good. These are all monthly, so I do have one time, but starting about next week, I'm really going to have to start to think about theta, and I'm going to have to start to think about expiration. The only one that's currently profitable right now is 40%, which is kind of my threshold for closing the poor man's covered call and taking some profit. But, and here's an exception, guys. There's always exceptions to the rule. 150 is my break even. So because 150 call makes me guaranteed profitable upon assignment, I am going to keep that around. It's not like something that I'm really profitable where I can even buy to close and I can come down in strike price. I can't go down. So that's like almost the best money I'm going to get, which is 40%. I'll watch it more next week. And like I said, I'll be looking for green days here for Pepsi and green days for Vuzi. Pepsi, I'm well above. I can write calls pretty much, as we just saw, over 150. It's not that big of a deal. But if I have a green day this week in Pepsi, you're going to definitely see a covered call against that. And if you see a green day for Vuzi, probably over like 2%, I'll probably be doing that. And if one of these goes wild, if this gets to like 50, 60, I might just close it down and just take the next part of the week off. That's not going to really be a big deal. JJ says, Intel is my move. Hey, man, if it's your move, then do it better than me. You know, do a better move than me. Intel instead of AMD. Yeah, I just like as I mentioned earlier in the live stream, I like the value of Intel a little better than AMD, not so much as a stock that like I buy and hold, but as far as writing cash secure puts on them, if I get assigned, I definitely want to get assigned a stock with a better value. Okay, when I'm doing that. How do you use a Brad use trading LLC or sole propriety? If you're asking if I'm an LLC or a sole prop, I am neither. I am a corporation. But if you have any questions about why I'm a corporation, we can definitely get to that at the end. What percentage are you in options of your non-retirement portfolio? I'm trying to figure out mine taxable. So, Joe, I just did a video on the breakdowns of my... Let me put my main camera on. Sorry, guys. I just realized I was freaking talking to myself. Look at me with all this fancy equipment. Oh, I only have 17 people. I lost some people. My overall net worth is 90% index funds, which does have my retirement. Actually, I can tell you. So, let me see. Do I got to, like, log into this? All right. I'm just logging in to M1 because that's really my other. Actually, and then I have a couple, but I'll show. These are my main ones. Skip. They're making me do like dual. Oh, there, this one. Okay. So let me put this on. I'll show you. We can kind of bounce back and forth. So my M1, and I have this linked as well, guys, and you can kind of see. So this has about $20,000 in it. And this guy's outside retirement, right? I think you said. So 15,000 of those in index funds. As you can see, it's not just for my videos, guys. VOO and VUG, I did get rid of VYM when I sold off the stocks. So, I mean, like I said, that wasn't just for the video, guys. You can see I still don't have that. I'm up like 10%. I've had this since, I think, March 22nd. Oh, my birthday. On my birthday, that's what I did. I opened an M1 finance account, and I have 3,000 in individual stocks. So these are the individual stocks here. So if we think about like non-retirement, if you mean like even non-index funds, in just stocks, right? In individual stocks, I have 3,900 here. And then here I have another 11 and 12. And then I probably have that like same thing. So I'm going to say maybe like 50. Man, so out of non-retirement, it's less, probably like less than 1%. It's not a lot of money. And I try and make that like so clear in my videos and stuff. I don't want to say like $12,000 is like nothing, but seriously, like if this Robinhood got like hacked and I lost everything, I'd be like so upset, but it wouldn't change my financial situation. And that's what I preach to people should be for like all of trading options, really. But the M1 Finance, I've been loving it. I built my my Vanguard up pretty high. It's got a lot, but it's like I said, it's all VTI. I have hundreds of thousands of dollars of VTI and also VOO. I consider them one and the same. So, I mean, individual stocks, that's really it. I'm very, very public about my individual stocks. That's really it. I have, I said I could show this one more time of what I actually own. And until the market really like calms down value-wise, I don't see myself really buying a ton of individual stocks because everything's really, really overvalued. So just going slow again. So the stocks I own here: Disney, PayPal, Vuzi, Tattoo Chef, Visa, Tesla, and we can see if we go to all my holdings here. I'm full disclosure, guys. My biggest unrealized capital gain. You see the ones that are winning for me, and when I look at this, I get so pissed because I'm like, these are all the heavily weighted index funds, with the exception of like Tesla. Tesla's in a lot of index funds as well. So it's like I have all of these shares, but they should just be in a growth index fund. You know, my biggest loser right now, Vuzi. And as I mentioned before, I really think that Vuzi was one of those things that it was overvalued a couple months back and it's come back down. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Classic Financial. Yeah. I just open up. I have so many, and JJ and I have talked about this so many times on the podcast. I have way too many brokerage accounts. Like I'm thinking, I was first when you asked me that question about how much is in stocks, I'm like, oh, like 1%. Then I'm like, oh my God, like I don't even have Webull open right now. That's been months of free shares from affiliate links. I don't know. I really just can't. I got to go back and look. No problem about the transparency. If there's, like I said, if there's things I can't show you, like I can't show you the FIDO because you have to tune in on Wednesdays. That's JJ and I's gig. I'm not going to flex on that portfolio. And if we do that in videos, guys, we have each other's permission. Trust me. Hard to justify buying at all-time highs. I don't really like. To me. I try and leave out the word all-time high. Like I mean, obviously there's kind of that thing to say, but when you say the words highs and lows, they're relative. You can say a company is overvalued or undervalued, and you can use historical. That's kind of like a fact. You can say fact, just like, yes, you could say fact, it's at all-time highs. But when we get to like value investing, the rules and things kind of stay the same. So I try not to say that I don't want to buy at all-time highs because 20 years, all-time highs are going to, like our all-time highs now are going to be nothing. Right. But I think in many, many years, the same criteria for finding value in a company, like its PEs and, you know, is revenue growing? Is profit coming down? Are they diluting shares or buying shares back? All of those fundamental things, those will still be there. So, yeah, you can say like all time highs, but think more overvalued according to the fundamentals of valuing a stock. I don't know. That's just how I feel. Just realized you have a Met shirt on too. Yeah, you can have them back. I'll be biased. Oh my gosh. So Josh, yeah, that's kind of like how I justify that. It's been all times highs for the past. Yes, thank you, Matt. Oh, somebody just subscribed. Everyday family, thanks so much for joining the live stream and subscribe to the channel. For anybody that live streams, I just found out that I looked up, like, if you saw on Average Money, we got some really, really like hateful spam that came in before we could even like take care of that. And I realized, so I Googled like how to stop spamming in live streams because I did not want that here. And they said that you can make the person have to be subscribed or a member. I don't have any members. I'm not monetized here. But you can make somebody have to be subscribed. So if you have live streams, make sure that you make people that are subscribed to be the only person that can enter your chat. If they want to go through the trouble of subscribing and waiting a minute till they can comment and then unsubscribing, Okay, that's a hardcore troll right there, but and then also too, you know that everybody talking is a subscriber of yours. So if you piss them off, you know that that's one of your followers. Like one follower, you don't want to piss them off. So if I piss you off, you let me know. I know that you're a loyal subscriber. Sneak peek on Average Money podcast topic tomorrow. To be honest, JJ and I, it's Wednesday. Wednesday we're going to be on there. Is it Tuesday already? I have no idea, but we haven't really talked about it. With JJ being sick, I've been giving him his time, and we text here and there. But when somebody's sick or somebody's family's out of whack or something like that, I'd never like to talk business, especially for something like as casual as the Average Money podcast. If JJ's sick, he doesn't need to talk about work. He has his own things he needs to deal with. And worst comes to worst, he was here a couple weeks ago and we filmed a bunch of different episodes. So he can be sick for the next couple of days, and that would be really, really good. Can you do things on analyzing stock video? Yeah, David, that's in the works, and I'm going to be fully transparent once again. I haven't in a while, and I haven't yet because I'm still learning. And I never want to make content. I'll make content that I can learn more about, but I at least want to be able to speak competently about it. And I've been learning a lot. So yeah, as I learn, and also too, I haven't been doing a lot of value buying and buying stocks in general because I love the leap so much and I love index funds. So I'm kind of waiting for an opportunity where maybe if I end up buying Intel or I get assigned on it, yeah, maybe then I'll do a value video and talk about some of the things that I look at. If you're inside the Discord, you can always ask me what I'm looking at. I'm definitely going to try and be more transparent there. Got some constructive criticisms from my moderator, so definitely going to be adding more of my thought process inside the Discord as well. So look forward to that and make sure that you ask me. MB Charter says, so far, I love stock Rover. I'm still on the free trial. Awesome. That's great news, man. Maybe you'll consider, jumping in, and I would love to create an even bigger relationship. That link that I have in my description is helping them track how much traffic I can draw, at least even in a free trial. So even if you have no plans on it, please just do the free trial for me and try it out, and you might like it, but worst comes to worst, you're going to tell stock Rover that I might be somebody that they might want to work with. So that would be really cool. And NBA Trucker, thank you so much for being my first ever super thanks over on the main channel. YouTube just added a little tip jar. If you guys are noticing, like next to the like, dislike, share, not on this channel once again because it's not monetized, but some some channels, they've given a super thanks. Like you can leave them like a tip, like, oh, I watched that video, I made $10, I can give them $2 tip and say thanks. But I mean, I'll never forget, man, you were my first one ever, and I hope you're enjoying the Discord so far. Like going through the fundamentals for a single stock. Yeah, David, I can. And I have no problem talking about channels that I really, really love. Guys, and yeah, so Everyday Money, I've been watching them a lot. JJ told me about them, and they have a really, really good channel. They're very, very intelligent from what I can see. They're very straightforward. The one guy's pretty blunt and kind of sometimes even rude. It turns me off. But the other guys are there, and they're really trying to help. Go watch a video. Tell them Brad Finn sent you over there. But that's really who I'm learning from. We have to learn from different people. I learned trading options pretty much from Adam in the Money. And when people are like, oh, you plagiarize his content, I'm like, no, I learned from him, and I follow his processes, and I always give him credit. So I have no problem giving credit to Everyday Money. They're really teaching me how to invest in value and how to search out certain things. But I don't have an affiliate link for them, but you can definitely tell them I said hi. Hey, Brad, since you work for the state, do you consider your pension as a hedge against volatility compared to other equities? Rob, I would love to talk about that pension right now. To be honest, I don't even think of my pension as income I'll ever receive, kind of similar to Social Security. I don't factor it into my net worth. I don't factor it into my income in retirement. Not because I don't think it's going to be there. I have an amazing pension. I pay 6% into my pension every single year of my salary, and I get a pretty good return. My pension is going to be one that most people can live with, but with that, I am tied to working out all of the years. I'm tied to all the responsibilities that come with getting a pension, and I don't want that in my life. If I get there, awesome. That would be great. But I don't hedge it against anything. I'm forced to put into my pension. So that's kind of, why I do it. But same with Social Security. And it's not because I'm one of those like, Social Security isn't going to be there when we get there. Guys, you can go to their website and you can see exactly how much is going to be there and when it's going to run out. You're good. Unless you're watching this and you're like 12, go to bed. But I don't think of that. So I hope that answers your question. And I also don't let my pension define. I hear so many people working too long because they are depending on their pension. And I see so many people like doing that math, and I'm like, you had your whole life. Like if you're thinking about your pension, you're probably in your mid to late 50s and maybe even your early 60s. I want to be like, if you're thinking about that at 60, if you're thinking about $1,000 or so, $1,500 or so every single month, man, I hope I get my first Social Security check and I'm like, first off, I'm going to be like, I'm alive, I'm old. But second, I'm going to be like, yo, what can we do with this money? And maybe I'll like, my kids will be old or I'll have grandkids by then. And I don't know, that's how I feel about that. Weekly investment portfolio update coming soon. Yes. Everyday Family, I am going to update that portfolio soon, talk more in there. To be honest, and guys, this is just business. I'm working out a sponsorship for that video. And when that happens, it takes some time. We have to go back and forth. We have to get in talking points and things like that. So some of these videos that I'm like, that's coming up tomorrow. I get a call and I'm like, hey, how about I throw you an extra $1 if you mention us? That's part of this business. So that's why that video hasn't come. As far as like that $150 every single week, I was getting such little feedback, and I don't care about hate comments because I get them all the time, but usually the love is so much greater than the hate that I don't care. The numbers didn't lie. It wasn't good for the channel. It wasn't good. Although I knew it was helping people, I knew that those people would stick around and get future videos. So there was a little bit of that why I got rid of that portfolio, and I made it 6 months and I gave it a try. And guys, that's the thing with business and new ideas, especially if you have a YouTube channel, like try new things. I tried it for 6 months. It didn't work. At that time, this was before the February rush, I didn't know what was going on my channel. I had 25,000 subscribers at Christmas. So when I started that challenge, I was in a different place and it just didn't work in. The options videos are taking off and I didn't want to throw off the algorithm. I know these are all like first world creator problems, but I'm just trying to be honest here and not worry about the algorithm, just tell you what goes on in my mindset in case there's other people that are thinking about having a channel or something like that. Is it still a thing? Oh, so yep, that's it. I just started options in the wheel running on Wish. Okay. I think JJ has Wish inside our FIDO portfolio. Have you tried running with either? Have you tried to run either CSP or CSP? I don't know. The shares every single week. Do you have a strategy when it's good to do it further out? No real strategy. Do you think the strategy is good? Oh, so if you want to run wheel on Wish, for me, the stock doesn't really matter that much. We can, like I said, this is kind of the beauty of Stock Rover. So I can kind of just like tell you guys some things quickly. And I mean, let me see Wish right now. Let's see what they have to say. Because at the end of the day, guys, I don't look at a stock because of its premiums. Premiums are the last thing I look at. And I don't even look at it. I look at it only for, where am I? Dashboard, sorry. Dashboard. My computer's running so slow. I look at it more for the company. So that's going to be the first thing that I'm really, really going to be looking at. Wish. Okay. So we'll go to their research report. This is what I use this site the most for. Take a sip of beer. Their market cap and their sales, not too terrible, that ratio. They're not profitable. They don't pay a dividend. If we look at them compared to the S&P 500, they're on a bit of a downturn. I've heard people talk, and like I said, I don't know that much about Wish. I haven't really done that much research on them. But, you know, we can see that they kind of went through that really big spike, and now they're kind of coming back down to earth. But I like the red line. That's the way I like to invest, and that's kind of why I haven't got into a stock like that. People, they're saying it's a strong buy. You can go through and look. I'm not going to dive into this too deep, but you can get all the different scores. And this is first how I look at a company. So as far as like telling you if it's a good play to do cash secure puts and to do, you know, things like the wheel, all I can tell you is I don't know the company, and to give that answer, I have to know the company. Every company I have that I wheel with, I want to own, I want to hold, and I'm really just selling options on it to get some extra added income. That is the only reason why I'm doing it. So, I mean, I hope that answers your question on that. JJ says Intel was his. Like I said, I saw that. If he wants to do Intel, he can do it. He's got to make a better play. He needs to make a better play than I do. Let's take a second and talk about your set. Yeah, whatever. You got a question, go ahead. I had the same thoughts about my pension. I want to get out of my job early. Yes, and that's kind of why I go with the 457B. I'm not good, guys. I'm not going to work till I'm 63 at my teaching job. I love it. I am jonesing to get back to work. I can't wait. I was thinking about what day of the week this is going to be. Sunday, school night, I go to bed. I definitely don't crush beers, but so I was like thinking about it. I can't wait, but I'm not, dude, so I'm 63, and this is physical. Hey, what's up? Thank you for subscribing, bud. I can't teach till I'm 63 physically. I'm shot at the end of the day. If you have a friend teacher, ask them where a step thing. I do almost like 20,000 steps at work before I get home from work. You know, I set that step goal every day. I be stepping. I don't even wear it in the summer. I don't want to know how many steps I have today. I bet you're an S corp. I do have the S corp. But yeah, no, I'm a corporation. Real quick about that, why am I a corporation? Because I have a high profit business. So in the LLCs that I've had in the past that were passed through entities, they were great if you had a lot of write-offs and you could kind of break even and use that business as not too profitable to kind of offset it. There's also things like self-employment tax and all these other things that go into it. Being high profitable business, not a ton of expenses, just being me and 1099ing people, and also avoiding a lot of payroll taxes. That's why I went with a corporation. And also too, what I found out with LLCs, and I've heard other people reiterate this, you're a limited liability corporation. If something happens, yeah, you're protected, but you're still going to pay out the ass in lawyer's fees if you get sued. It doesn't protect you against somebody filing a lawsuit against you. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll risk that and the lawyer's fees, because if the lawyers come into it, I'm not a negligent person, so I'll probably win. I'm going to have to pay the same lawyer's fees. And until that rarity happens, I'm going to save on payroll taxes. That's why I went with a corporation instead of an LLC. I mean, can you tell us what's going on behind you? Looks like you're shooting a horse scene. So if you watch my YouTube videos, I'm sitting at the same spot, just in reverse. So that's a key light. That's a key light. There's my mic that hangs over my head. There's my, I can't figure out, here's my camera, my brother's jersey. So yeah, so right now the neon lights that are usually behind me are in front of me. So that's it. And if you ever get down to my basement, and that sounds so weird whenever I tell people that when I record JJ, let's go down to the basement. But if you're ever in the basement, you'd never guess that my set was in this room. That's why I always keep the lights off behind me, because the place is a disaster. It's like my wife's gym. There's Pelotons, there's treadmills, there's all this stuff. There's laundry. It's just a mess. But yeah, no horror scenes. This is where I film every single video. Is there a way to get a list of stocks which offer options trading that are trading in the $13 range? So I get this question a lot. Is there any screeners for options values or even historical option values? I'm sure you can definitely find the historical ones, but the ones you can't sort by them. You can't really screen them because premiums change instantly. They're not fixed numbers like metrics and revenues and things that get updated quarterly. These get updated every single day, so you can't really, every single second while the markets are open. So it's hard to really screen for that, but you can definitely search. Generally, guys, the options premiums, they are going to go with the share price a little bit, but also, and the volatility. Those are the two like common metrics you could think of. If this is a volatile stock, it's going to be expensive. If it has a really, really high share price, it's going to be expensive. If it has a really, really high share price and is super volatile, it's going to have an extremely, extremely high share price. Then you add on just the sprinkles on top, which is expiration. Take those two metrics. Is it an expensive stock? And what's its volatility? Come up with some number if that's high, low, or medium, and then add expiration. Every month makes it more and more expensive. That's kind of how I like track stocks. So I know that right now I can afford leaps generally in the up to about $150. Over $150, I have to get a really good deal. And I just know that, and you just learn that like that's what I can afford because you're looking at so many different ones with the amount of buying power that you have. So you kind of see certain trends. Like I know that I need low implied. I know if I want an expensive stock, I need it to be not a high implied volatility. Like that Waste Management move was at the upper end of my share price, but its volatility is so low. So it doesn't have a ton of extrinsic value. So that's good for me. And then I can kind of work my way in that way. That's how I think about or screen for different premiums when I'm looking at leaps. Did you say you're selling Apple? I've been buying and selling puts last week. Yeah, Josh, I'm going to sell Apple if we have a nice green day. I have a call that I have to buy to close, but it's looking really, really good. It's pretty far out of the money, so I should be able to close it. And the reasons I talked about on the Average Money podcast, I kind of got into Apple because I wanted to be in the market, and I hate holding money. It was a spontaneous move, something I didn't have to think about. I knew I wanted Apple. But I also knew that it was holding up $14,000 of my available $20,000 in assets. So I was like, as soon as I see something good, I'm going to sell it off and use that money as collateral for puts or something like that. And that's essentially what happened. I've been looking since that for the last 3-4 weeks since we started this challenge. And I found Intel, and it's something I really, really want. The other thing I really, really want is Vuzi puts. I want to sell puts on Vuzi so bad. I love their value right now, and I will pay anything under what they are right now. So I'm going to be, that might even be first. Like if we have a weird day tomorrow where Apple shoots up and Boozy shoots straight down, you please do not be surprised that by noon in the Discord, I'm going to be telling people I sold off my Apple shares, and I used that $14,000 to write 10 contracts, 10 puts on Vuzi at $12. That's going to happen, and that's going to be like $1,000 day for me. So especially with 20 days, with August 20th, so having like 13 days till expiration on that. So watch it. It all depends on the green days and the red. That's the plan. If that happens on Tuesday, you'll see the same shit on Tuesday. Matt, have a good night, man. Did I just see a strong island tattoo? I do have Long Island tattooed on my bicep. I do. Yeah. I was homesick one day when I was at Arizona. I lived in Arizona for a couple of days, and I was like, no place like home? I don't know. I was drinking. I got a tattoo. Sorry to bother you, but can you briefly talk about Ivy Crush and why some options lose value after their share price moves in the direction of your contract? Of course, and I made a video about it on my main channel. You can like DM me or something like that, and I can give you that exact video. But Ivy Crush is implied volatility crush. So as I was just talking about with premiums of options, and this will not be drawn out, so anybody else that knows what I'm talking about, I'll get through this quick. And you can even follow up. Right, so we have things that make the option more expensive. The things that make the option more expensive are increase in share price, increase in implied volatility, and also, what are some other things? How far away from expiration? Those are some basic ones, okay? So if you have a stock that has a ton of volatility, unknown, right, it's going to make that value go up, right? And it keeps going up, and as we get to earnings, the buzz gets louder. Yo, did you hear about Apple? Oh, there's going to be a new car. Are they doing this, that, and the other thing? So everyone starts buying those options on that volatility because there's money to be made as the buyer, because the buyer's thinking into earnings. I can buy this value now. Earnings and volatility are going to go up, and then I can dump. So what happens is we have a lot of this buying right before the unknown. It's not always earnings. It's most commonly, Ivy Crush is most commonly talked about inside earnings. It's not just earnings. It can happen with just a volatile stock. Like what the hell's going on with AMC and GameStop, things like that. So we have a lot of these buys leading up as that volatility goes up. Then the share price, it's going to change a little, but you see like Apple went into earnings, not a ton change in their share price. Usually maybe they'll dip a little, nothing crazy. So you have a share price that's kind of doing this, but implied volatility that's going like this, right? So that's going to make the value of the option go really, really high. Well, right after earnings, there's no more unknown. There's no more volatility. We know everything. So what happens to that volatility? It crushes straight down to the ground. The share price stays in the same spot. So you lose all the value of that raised implied volatility. Now earnings came out, and now it's way down here. So you had the intrinsic value here, the value of the option, and maybe it even went up over the next couple of days. Earnings were great. It went up $2. But that $2 didn't nearly offset the drop, the dramatic drop in implied volatility. And that's how the share price can go up. We got close to expiration, the value went up. We stayed the same share price, so the share price went up a little bit, value went up. But implied volatility, which has a huge grasp on extrinsic value, drops to the ground. So you're left with, So that's really what Ivy Crush is, and I hope that answered your question. It's a confusing topic. If you go to my main channel and you type in Brad Finn Ivy Crush, I do a detailed video about that. More questions in the chat, guys. As soon as I get to the end of the chat, I'll probably wrap it up, guys. We've been here an hour, so if you do have any last-minute questions, please let me know. Drop the video a like. I am going to leave all of these open, try and grow this channel, and see like if we can go live. I am going to go live often, so hit the notification bell. If I'm having a down day and I just want to come on and talk about life, I might do that during the week. I plan to do live streams like multiple times per week. It's not always going to be money. I will be very clear in the title, so if you want to hear about like potty training my daughter, I'm not saying there's going to be videos about that, but but definitely hit the notification bell. Do you contribute to your 457 Roth or your pre-tax? I go back and forth daily on this. Right now, I am pre-tax. I have the Roth IRA. All right, so here's my current mindset. You could tell me I'm crazy. I've done some math, and if you invest pre-tax, right? Uncle Sam takes your money now. Uncle Sam does not take your money, right? You can invest that tax savings and get a tax savings again, all these things, right? Then when you pull the money out, you're going to get taxed again. Yes. So you get taxed one time. At the end, yeah, is your tax rate going to be up, down? Who knows? It's probably going to be up, but it's not going to offset if you do the Roth, in my opinion, where you get taxed once at this tax rate now. Then it's going to grow, and not get taxed. I just don't see the Roth being like a huge benefit for me. I'd rather just get taxed that one time now and invest the money. If you don't invest the tax savings, then the Roth is better for you. But I want the savings now. I want it now. And I'm going to take that money, I want to invest it and let that compound, right? How many times you hear that like time invested is the most? Time. And then the other thing you're saying, well, if you're just going to invest that difference, I like the tax savings now. I really just do, because when I get taxed on the back end, you got to think about some things, right? Everyone's always like, oh, your income's going to be lower in retirement. For somebody like me, that's not necessarily going to be true. So that's why I think about the Roth from time to time. Like, I'm not going to get my child credit. I'm not going to have my mortgage interest. I'm not going to have all these other things that are deductions right now. I don't know. Right now I have the Roth. I want the money now. I want that money to be invested. I'm going to take that and invest it in other things that don't have fees, that aren't going to be I don't know. That's just me. Any SPC, AMC, GameStop, super volatile. Yeah, those are very, very volatile. Back to that. Thanks, Brad. Have a good night. Your channel has been helpful a ton. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Thanks for you. Really appreciate your answer. No problem, Josh. Yeah. All right. So, guys, like that's pretty much what I want to do on these Sundays. I want to talk about the week in review. Now they know I'm going to be doing this on a regular basis. I'm going to actually, you know what? I could probably just do this. Hold on. Let's see if there's anything that really I missed, and I can do that by doing this. Oops. Let me see. Just trying to bring this over to my other screen, because I'm learning how to have two screens. Okay. So now if I just show this before we get out of here. What I was going to say is I plan on making, taking more notes on the moves that I make. But guys, I think most of you are probably Discord members. But if we go in and we look at my option moves, so some Pepsi calls, close that out. Was this week 8-3? So some more Voozy puts. Guys, I talk about like Voozy puts are definitely going to be in there. The stocks that I bought and sold this week, I bought a bunch of. I put in, how much did I put in? $3,490 into the portfolio this week over in M1 Finance. So those are the things, but I'm definitely going to keep track of more things. And there really is so much that we could talk about. And we'll talk about this more on Average Money, but the JJ and I put in an offer on a house as well. So hopefully we'll get some more real estate we could talk about. Can you do a portfolio and P&L review? You mean on your portfolio? That's probably, definitely I do that inside the Discord. We have a chat that is portfolio screenshots where we can talk about it. I don't think it would really be something we can do in here, guys. It's so hard to talk about other people's portfolios. That's like that's like asking me to evaluate your portfolio is like asking me if I think your wife is hot. That's really how it is. Because in every portfolio, there's going to be some good things. There's going to be some bad things. There's going to be some things that you don't know about. There's going to be some things that you know about, but you don't want anybody else to say. That's why I really can't. I have no problem being honest. If someone is like, hey, Brad, I did this, would you do that? Or is there anything you would have done differently? Because then it's on me, right? It's on me then. That's what I would have done. Then we could be donkeys together or not. But that going through and being like, oh, I like that play, especially too because I don't necessarily know what's going on with a lot of the companies. I don't, to be honest, I don't know that much about a lot of companies because I spend so much due diligence on the companies that I have that I really don't. But yeah, I think I use the ex-girlfriend or bad girlfriend analogy too, because I love analogies, but it's true. I always use girls. I think in the Average Money podcast, which comes out tomorrow morning, I said something like, your visit here is ingrained in my head like a bad ex-girlfriend. And he's like, yeah. So that's what it is. Asking me to evaluate your portfolio is the same as asking me, like, do you think my wife gained any weight after the pregnancy? Like, you can't ask me. It's too personal. It's too personal, guys. I think that's going to wrap it up. I am going to leave this live so you can go back, guys. Also, too, if you watched on your phone, right in the middle of the screen, there's a thing that says live chat. You can always look at the chat. If you come back and replay or go back to the beginning replay, you can add that chat feature. I appreciate it. It's so nice, too, not to have to worry about like monetization or anything. I know you guys were strictly here for the good time. We never dropped below 20. I told my wife I was only going to get to 20. So thanks so much, guys. Until the next one, which could be tomorrow, could be Tuesday. We'll see what happens. I'll always try and give you